The air is bitingly cold today. It sinks needle-sharp teeth into your bare cheeks. Thick, cold mud sucks at your boots as you slog through the trench, and you imagine you can feel icy water seeping through the worn leather. At least, you hope that's your imagination. You know too well the fate of those who can't keep their feet dry in this hellhole. With a shudder, you remember your friend being stretchered away from the front lines. His yells of, "Please, it's not so bad, let me go back. They won't take my foot. Don't let them take it, please," falling on deaf ears. A sudden gust of icy air brings you back into the moment as it whips between the mud-encrusted plank walls. You know that if you dared to look out over the top of the wall, you'd see a covering of frost over no man's land. The uncaring stars causing the frost to glitter on the barbed wire, the debris, the casualties, laying across the desolate ground. Your thoughts turn to the only thing that's been able to bring you any modicum of comfort over these past few weeks: your family. You picture them around the warm hearth, your wife, her soft, rosy cheeks pulling into a smile as she watches your little girl open a small package. "Just one on Christmas Eve," she would say. "The rest must wait till tomorrow." And your daughter would giggle, a mischievous gleam in her pretty brown eyes. "Oh, Mama, please, one more? Just one." You sigh. Your wife and daughter on Christmas Eve. In this time of what is supposed to be goodwill and peace on earth, you feel farther from them than ever. You'd give anything to be with them, to hug your wife and sweep your little one into your arms. Instead, you're here, in this ghastly place, waiting for the next attack, waiting, always waiting. At first, you think the low murmur is coming from ahead of you, from the group of men huddled around a meager fire trying to get warm. You think they're singing a Christmas carol, Silent Night? How they could have any kind of Christmas cheer is beyond you. But no, their mouths aren't moving. And they're looking around for the source of the singing too, as confused as you are. "Benjamin," you call out to one of your comrades. "Do you hear it too? What is that?" Benjamin hurries over to you. "You won't believe it," he says, grasping your arm. "There's been word all along the trench. It's the Germans. They're singing. And they have Christmas trees set up all along their battlements." He takes a deep breath and continues more quietly. "And I can't believe this, but the captain told me himself. They've made contact. Supposedly they said that tomorrow, we no shoot, you no shoot." You stare at your friend in amazement. "What, like some kind of Christmas truce?" I'm Christiana.
And I'm Bree.
Settle in and prepare for a Christmas miracle.
Because you're about to hear something strange.
Welcome to episode 29, A Christmas Truce. So, do you know anything about the Christmas Truce of 1914?
I know very little. I know because I'm a music nerd that they were were both sides singing, or was it just the German side?
The Germans started it.
Was it Silent Night?
I think they were just singing carols. I pulled Silent Night out just because I like that carol.
Do you know why my brain went to Silent Night?
Why is that?
It's the only Christmas carol I know in German.
That's fair. That's fair.
Where I grew up, we had a very big Pennsylvania Dutch. Well, it's the only carol I know in Pennsylvania Dutch, I should say. Mm-hmm. We on our Christmas Eve service, we would always light the candles, and then we would sing through how many verses of Silent Night, and then we would sing it in German for the last verse, and then we'd blow out the candles, and then they'd return the lights on in the church, and they would play Joy to the World.
Oh, cool. Was that like a midnight service?
Yeah, sorry, it was a candlelight service.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to candlelight services. I do really, really like them.
They're really nice. But anyways, that's what my brain went to that one. But I know it was Christmas Eve during World War I.
World War I. Yep.
And it was it was probably very surprising for the soldiers. So all of a sudden it's like,
yes, it was a shock. It was a shock for everyone involved.
But it is a story that I'm vaguely familiar with. It was very like Christmas cheer, but in a very like dreadful situation.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'll get to this a little bit towards the end, but that's part of why I chose this, is because it really is I think it's a beautiful story. So the Christmas Eve Truce of 1914 was an unofficial truce that occurred in some of the trenches along the western front of World War I. On Christmas Eve, British troops heard the German troops singing carols from their trenches, and the two sides began to shout messages to each other. The next morning, on Christmas Day, the troops on each side met in the land known as No Man's Land in an unofficial truce, and the day was spent mingling. They took photos, gifts were exchanged, and there was even a football match, or soccer match to us Americans, that was started.
I wonder how much the soldiers on both sides, though, were like how possible is it that this is a trick?
Yeah.
That'd be my question. It's like, oh, this is great, but also like,
are you like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Or what exactly is right? I want to talk about World War I a little bit here, just to give an introduction on this war, because this was a very complex and complicated war as well. I don't think it's as well known as like especially like the Civil War, American Civil War, or World War II. So World War I was otherwise known as the Great War. It was fought between the years of 1914 and 1918. Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire fought opposite of the United States, Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Canada, and Japan, which is interesting to me because only a couple years later, we would be at war with Germany again. But this time, Italy and Italy and Japan would both be fighting us as well. Because I did not know we allied with them during World War I. So it's really, really just an interesting fact.
There's a time suck episode about World War I.
Oh, cool.
It's long, understandably. Yeah. But it does really kind of dive into it. Like, I learned a lot listening to that.
Okay. I'll have to listen to that, too, because World War I is not one that I know much about, but...
I did after that. I listened to it the whole way to my family up in Reading and back.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was a long one. So makes sense.
Just like 2.5, 3 hours worth of back and forth.
Yeah. Well, while the official declaration of war came from Austria-Hungary on July 28th, 1914, the catalyst of World War I was the murder of the Archduke of Austria, Franz Ferdinand, and his wife. The assassination was committed by Gavrilo Princip, who was one of several Serbian nationalists that wanted to stop the Austria-Hungary rule over the country of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I have a quick little Britannica Encyclopedia side note here. Bosnia and Herzegovina are, as far as I can tell, both of the same country, but are two separate regions of the country. Because I got a little confused researching that. I was like, wait, was this two separate countries? I believe they are actually the same country.
Would it be like, a state? So like people think of the United States, think of like Texas. Mm-hmm. It would be like Texas invading Mexico, but it's still America invading Mexico.
Sort of, yeah. Like, but they're not like at odds with each other. Like the two regions are.
No, but like they're not at odds. Like Texas is part of the United States.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Like Texas and what state's next to Texas?
Texas is so big. What state is next to Texas? Is New Mexico next to Texas?
New Mexico and Texas working together to invade old Mexico.
Yeah, old Mexico.
Am I going to cut that all out? Friends, okay, story time. I thought I was good at geography until we started this podcast. And then I realized that I am not good at geography.
It's okay. I promise I'm not laughing at you. That just struck me. Old Mexico.
A Original Mexico.
OG,
Original flavor.
Original flavor Mexico. If we have anyone listening in Mexico, they're like, fuck you guys.
They're like, no, we are the original flavor. Give us New Mexico back. Actually, we don't want it. Keep it.
Yeah. So when Austria-Hungary received word that they would have full support from Germany via the German leader Kaiser Wilhelm at the time, they officially declared war on Serbia, which began the war. World War I was fought on two separate fronts, the Eastern and Western fronts. The Eastern Front was fought with Russian troops on one side and German and Austrian troops on the other after Russia invaded regions of East Prussia and Poland that were held by German forces. The Western Front, which is where the focus of our discussion is today, was formed by French and British troops on one side and Germans on the other.
Was there a Doctor Who episode about this occurrence?
Yes.
I'm like, why? Which Doctor was it?
I feel like there was a world. I don't know if it was about the Christmas Truce specifically, but I believe there was a World War I episode with Matt Smith.
I'm like, why?
Was it 11?
I think so. I was like, why am I envisioning Matt Smith in the middle of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, all my arcane heads, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Harry Lloyd, who voices Victor, was in that at some point.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
I love watching Doctor Who because you're just randomly watching Doctor Who and then you're like, is that Tom Ellis?
Yeah.
Or like there was another actor where I was like,
Is that
so-and-so?
Yes.
One of the Spider-Man, because to be Spider-Man you have to be British.
Andrew Garfield?
Yeah.
Wait, he's British or Tom Holland is British?
In order to be Spider-Man, you have to be British. That's not actually a role, but
I was like, wait, is Tobey Maguire British?
No. I think it was Andrew Garfield. It was the Daleks Take Manhattan. No, it wasn't. No, that was a Matt Smith. It was the one where it's Martha and Ten, and there's the pig people that the Daleks are like building the Empire State Building or something.
I don't remember.
Do you know what I'm
this.
talking? I think I'm not making this up.
Well, you're probably not. I know I've seen 10 and Martha. It's been a long time since I've watched Doctor Who, though. I need to re-rent it and start over.
Just
maybe not all the way.
Don't ask me what I did 2 days ago. I can't tell you. But I know the Doctor was. I know that Spider-Man was in Doctor Who, and so
okay. I wanna go back and watch it. I wanna get it out of the library again. I also need to find 10's not regeneration.
Yes. Oh, that's going into Matt Smith or going into David Tennant?
Going into Matt Smith. That's the last one I have to watch of David Tennant, and I haven't been able to find it at the library yet, and I heard it's rough, brother.
It is. Oh, I'm having flashbacks from that right now. I'm like, oh, you're watching that without me?
We're going to take a moment for Bruce to compose herself.
It was a hard one.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch it, but I've heard it's rough. So, back to the World War I of it all. Through several brutal attacks, Germany crossed Belgium to invade France, and the French and British allies managed to stop the German army in the northeast of France when they were just 30 miles from Paris, and they drove the Germans back.
Can we get through an episode without mentioning the French?
I don't think so. I think we're stuck at this point. From there, forces on each side dug themselves into trenches where they would battle for years to come, and it was heinous. If you know anything about World War I, you may be familiar with this phrase, trenches or trench warfare. Trenches were long ditches carved into the earth as protective measurements for the fighting forces on both sides of the conflict. They were extremely common along the Western Front and designed to keep fighters safe from machine gun fire and attacks from the air. They were also meant to provide some level of protection against gas attacks. Trench life was, in a word, hell. The German trenches were actually much more comfortable than those of their counterparts. They were more dry, and some of them even had electricity and running water. The French and the British, on the other hand, did not have such accommodations.
There a sorry?
Oh, go ahead.
Is there a reason why, the Germans were?
We'll get into that a little bit here.
Also, are any of the, like, this is probably a morbid question. Are any of the trenches still there?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to visit one if they are, but I almost kind of doubt it just because the German ones maybe. But the French, as we'll get into here, the French and the British ones were not great.
Like the ones made by the Germans, not the ones in Germany.
The ones made by the Germans. I'm not sure. I would be interested to look that up though, because I do want to. I'm also kind of weird and morbid in that, like, I want to visit Auschwitz at some point in my life, and I want to visit Utah, like Utah Beach.
I'm not in. So that is a place that I think the energy would be so hard for me in.
Yeah. It's definitely. I've met someone that has visited there, and they did say it was extremely, extremely heavy.
Did you go when we were at Wilson? Did you go to the Seder meal we had the one year?
Oh,
that chaplaincy put on.
I did something. Was it at the chaplain's house?
It was not. It was.
No.
It was in the wellness center, but we prepared it at her house.
Okay.
It was one of the I won't say the person's name. One of the students, her grandfather led the Seder meal, and he was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh, I don't think so then, because I half wanted to say I did, but I would have definitely remembered that.
I took one of my roommates as my date because I was allowed to bring a +1 because I was. Fun fact, I was the chaplaincy work study all 4 years.
Yes.
I have a religious studies degree, so I was like, I might as well just work for the chaplain.
Yes.
She was very nice. She's Irish.
Love her. I miss her so much.
Yeah, she's in Scotland. I guess she's still in Scotland.
I think so.
I was invited. I had to help with it a little bit because I was the work study. But it was so interesting to have someone, like, he talked about Poland before the Nazi occupation. It was so interesting to hear someone who had survived the Holocaust talk about it and lead the Seder meal. Very cool. If you are not Jewish and you are invited to a Seder meal, like, go. Do it respectfully, obviously. Like, you want to respect other people's traditions and stuff. But if you're ever invited to a Jewish family Seder dinner,
what does Seder mean?
I think it just means like the order.
Okay.
Order to a procedure.
Oh, okay. So kind of like a ceremonial dinner in a sense.
Yeah, everything represents something too. Like, it's done traditionally during Passover. So I am pulling this off the top of my head. Any Jewish listeners, if I mess this up, I apologize deeply. I'm only a little bit, like, I don't practice Judaism.
Sure.
So Passover was, were you there? Do you remember Moses and the plagues?
Yeah, vaguely, yes.
So,
I have an idea of what they were.
So the Israelites were captive by the Egyptians, according to the story. And God used Moses to let this people go, right? He sent a bunch of plagues like locusts and frogs and all kinds.
Didn't he send frogs?
Well, in some like translations, it's frog.
Okay.
There's just one giant frog. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't speak Hebrew.
That's heinous.
I'm gonna send frog.
A frog.
A giant frog. I'll have to double check that, see if that's true. But it was the angel of death was going to pass over the houses, and anyone who didn't mark their
door, or their
stoop,
with
lamb's blood. So if they took the lamb's blood and marked their stoop, right, their door frame, the angel of death would pass over them.
Right.
Now, if they did not do that, then the angel of death would come for, I believe, the firstborn. So, like, the Pharaoh's firstborn was taken, and that was when he was like, get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
Go take your people. I don't want you here anymore.
Right.
Which is kind of interestingly echoed. Sorry, can I?
Oh, go on.
In the nativity story of Jesus. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, and
King Herod?
That's it, the king. I'm like, not the Pharaoh, the king. Thank you.
I know a little bit.
So he was threatened by this supposed Messiah because you had like the Magi, who were most likely Zoroastrian astrologers, who were coming because they were following the star, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was very threatened by that. So he put a decree that any child like under the age of 3 or 5 was to be killed.
Oh,
so in a reverse of that, supposedly Mary and Joseph fled to Egypt with Jesus.
Yes.
and then came back when they were told by, I guess, an angel or something. I don't know.
That it was safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was like a flip of it in the nativity story. Instead of fleeing from Egypt, they were fleeing to Egypt.
That's interesting.
Welcome to religious history.
No, I love it. Genuinely, I do think these kind of stories are very interesting in how they tie to one another. But back to World War I. Back to World War I.
Back to more recent history.
Further away history, actually. World War I was older than World War II.
No.
More recent in the biblical history.
I'm
sorry. I was like, wait. So, because we went from World War II, then to biblical, then back to World War I.
We went to like first 5 books of the Bible, biblical, and then we went to New Testament, and then we went.
Yeah. Now we're back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
The French and British troops did not put as much effort into building their trenches as the Germans because they felt they wouldn't be there for long. And this led to the trenches being muddy, wet, just not nice places to be. Life in the trenches took a really, really serious toll on those living in them, even outside the constant threat of attack. As I've already said, it was very wet. It was hard to keep dry. It was hard to sleep, hard to get a warm meal. There were bodies just strewn everywhere, and disease was rampant in these trenches. Dysentery, cholera, and typhoid fever were common due to the close proximity of the combatants that were living together, as well as the lack of hygiene. Trench foot and trench mouth were also pretty common. Quick trigger warning, guys, about a really gross medical issue. We're going to talk about trench foot and the symptoms of such and consequences of such. So trench foot occurred when a person would be unable to keep their feet dry and the tissues of the feet would become necrotic and essentially just slough off. Sometimes amputation was necessary for those unfortunate enough to develop trench foot because they just didn't have another way to save the foot, and it would just get worse and worse and worse. We're also going to talk about trench mouth. This is not as gory, but still, if you're not into medical stuff, skip over this. Trench mouth, on the other hand, was a disease of the gums. And I didn't do a lot of research into this, but one of the articles I read indicated that the trench mouth could be caused due to stress from constantly being bombarded. And my theory behind this is that an infection had already begun in the gums, possibly due to lack of proper hygiene, and then it was exacerbated by the body of the infected person just being so constantly under physical stress from living conditions, from being attacked, from just everything, that the body, it kind of destroyed the body's immune system and was unable to fight that infection off. That's my theory. Don't take me for gospel. Shell shock was something that was also common in the trenches. Today, this is known as PTSD. As well, there was a certain level of boredom in the trenches and the fear of a battle starting at any moment. So you were literally just sitting there on tenterhooks waiting for something to happen.
Were there stories, am I making this up, about like it being really infested by rats?
Yeah,
and like
that was
having like dogs whose whole job, or they like dump cats into the and terriers and stuff into the.
I feel like that is true. Yes, I didn't see as much, and I didn't go too deep into this because I was kind of just doing like a brief overview. But I believe I have seen that before. Yes.
Fun fact: I have a mini schnauzer. She is the worst ratter known to man. She does not do anything with mice or rats.
No, the goddess would not have loved those trenches. She would have been like, "Get me out of here."
She likes to get muddy though. She doesn't like to get wet though.
Yeah. No, she would not have liked these trenches. She would have been swimming. I also want to talk a little bit about no man's land. I'm going to take you from one terrible area of the battlefield of the Western Front to another.
Yay?
Yay, question mark. Towards the beginning of the war, attacks from the trenches were mounted when one side or the other would rush out of their trench into the space between the trenches to attack the opposite. This was not particularly effective and mostly just led to really severe casualty numbers on both sides. As the war progressed, these attacks began to shift to nighttime. The goal was to infiltrate enemy lines using the cover of darkness and attack from behind, while their fellow combatants would attack from the front, so kind of siege them out almost. The space between the trenches was known as no man's land and was a virtual nightmare. There were shell holes pockmarking all over the ground. Wounded and dying men that were just beyond help were strewn everywhere. One of the articles I referenced used a quote from the poet Wilfred Owen in describing this place. It was, quote, like the face of the moon, chaotic, crater-ridden, uninhabitable, awful, the abode of madness. And I want to give a quick side note here because this could potentially be a really interesting snapshot. If anyone is interested, a strange snapshot. There is a legend of deserters from all sides banding together and living in no man's land in like underground and abandoned trenches and bunkers. Like supposedly people were living out there, which I was like, oh, I want to do more research into this. This is really interesting. However, in some cases, no man's land also gave space for the opposing forces to meet without fear of attack. Men could gather their dead and wounded kind of under not a white flag. It wasn't a surrender, but it was kind of each side looking at the other going, okay, we're going to let you come out here so that you can get your guys off the field. Whoever you can reach, you know, if there's wounded out there, you can collect your wounded. In some instances, it also gave men on both sides a breather to get a little bit of sun when springtime arrived. And this is also where the heart of our story today begins. When World War I began, many believed the war would be over by Christmas time. Being that the war was fought between 1914 and 1918, this was, of course, not the case. This led to many soldiers being separated from their families over Christmas time, and the conditions in the trenches also steadily grew worse as winter drew near. Lots of rain, frost, cold. Everything was already wet, and now make it cold. On the eve of the first Christmas of World War I, troops in the British Expeditionary Force heard something odd coming from the German trenches. The Germans were singing Christmas carols, as well as patriotic songs.
The patriotic songs don't fit the vibe.
I know, that's a little strange.
But I'm like imagining like them singing them to the tune of Christmas carols.
Right. Truly. Like the German national anthem to the theme of like Jingle Bells.
Do you know what the German national anthem is? I don't.
I do not. There's one, but I don't think it's the national anthem. I think it was something that was sung during World War II that was really horrific. So I don't want to sing it.
You're good.
When the British troops looked closer, they also saw lanterns lit all along the trench and Christmas trees set up. After a while, the true forces began shouting messages across to one another. Marmaduke Walkinson of the Queen's Westminster Rifles stated, this is a direct quote, "We were in the front line. We were about 300 yards from the Germans, and we had, I think, on Christmas Eve, we'd been singing Christmas carols, this and that and the other, and the Germans had been doing the same, and we'd been shouting to each other, sometimes rude remarks, more often just joking remarks. Eventually, a German said, 'Tomorrow, you no shoot, we no shoot.'" The next day, the two forces both left their respective trenches and met in no man's land. This began a day of camaraderie between both sides. This is a direct quote from a gentleman by the name of Mr. Rickner, and he was of the German artillery. "I remember very well Christmas. I remember the Christmas day when the German and the French soldiers left their trenches, went to the barbed wire between them with champagne and cigarettes in their hands, and had feelings of fraternization and shouted they wanted to finish the war. The two sides exchanged gifts, took photos with each other, and even played a game of, I said this earlier, a game of soccer or football. This time was also used to make repairs to the dugouts and trenches, and there was dead and wounded collected. Not everyone along the trenches of the Western Front took part in this truce. This was certain areas of the trenches where this truce was occurring. In some areas, heavy fighting was still taking place, even on Christmas Day. And even if there were areas where there was no active fighting, the two sides still didn't feel that they wanted to interact with each other. You have to think these people had literally spent potentially up to the day before, up to the hour before, trying to kill each other. So even if they weren't in an active fight, they were like, oh, I want to go say hi to them.
Fair enough.
Yeah. There was some concern by higher officers in the military that believed the truce would, quote unquote, undermine the fighting spirit. The unexpected truce also shocked the family members and respective countries of the respective forces. I said respective a lot there, sorry.
It's all good.
Propaganda had portrayed Germans as these just completely evil and bloodthirsty monsters, stating that they were, some sources even stated that they were baby eaters.
Which is a wild thing to say, because how many of the soldiers on, like, well, I guess the American side wasn't there yet.
No, not at this
No.
point. I forget when the Americans joined the war.
It was very late.
It was much later.
But like, American forces were there. But like, how many of them were German had German ancestry?
Yeah.
I'm sure there was families in France who had German relatives, or
Yeah. Everything is so close together over there. Like, a lot of those countries are so tiny. It's like, not all of them, but
Russia's huge.
Russia's ginormous.
Russia doesn't need an army. It just needs the winter.
It just needs Siberia, which it has.
That literally is what happened.
I know. They would pull, was it during this war? If anyone would attack them, they would just wait for winter and be like, okay, bye.
They'd like lure them in there and be like,
Good luck.
have fun.
Yeah. They have very natural advantages in Russia.
Like, you don't need to fight Mother Russia. Mother Russia fights you.
Correct. Let's see.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. When photos and letters began arriving to family and friends on the home front describing this truce, many were shocked to find out that the quote-unquote devils they had been fighting had been making merry with their own family members, with their own friends. After Boxing Day, meetings in no man's land dwindled out. Those higher up in command on each side actually worked to prevent any further truces like this from occurring again.
That's wild, because that, like, I feel like that could have changed the course of history majorly.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I'm not, being conspiracy theorist here, but like, if there would have been more camaraderie and stuff, we might have been able to avoid World War II.
Yeah, potentially. I mean,
Maybe not, but like,
you never know. I mean, it's hard to say. There's so many different paths that this could have taken, but it is a little bit heartbreaking, because it's like, this was people, and it just, to me, it shows the nature of, like, we don't want to fight you. Like, we know you are a human being. You have a family at home too. I have a family at home too. We took a photo together. I don't want to shoot at you. It breaks my heart a little bit. Like, it's beautiful, but it also is just so sad.
empathy and compassion goes a long way. Also, is it true that like Hitler almost died in World War I? Like, he was shot or something, or like
I don't know. I don't know much about Hitler before World War II, admittedly.
okay, according to like the AI overview, had several experiences during World War I that could have been fatal. Several.
Damn it.
Including shrapnel wounds in the Battle of Somme,
Battle of the Somme.
Battle of Somme, and a mustard gas attack near the
Ooh.
war's end.
He was in a mustard gas attack?
According to AI, he was. Anyways, sorry.
That brain could have been used for a lot of good, but he used it for a lot of evil. So,
this is going places.
This is going places. And this is like pretty close to my era, so I'm like, I love this. Okay. The style of fighting also changed after this time in the war. Artillery and mortar fire was pretty much constant, and gas attacks began to occur. Incidents outside the trenches happened that increased the desire to fight. Like, directly referenced was the sinking of the Lusitania, which is what brought America into the war, I believe. Was the Lusitania?
I don't remember.
I feel like the Lusitania was an American ship. Now I'm like second guessing
I thought
myself.
she was a British ship.
Maybe she was a British ship.
Oh, let's Google.
Sorry,
crap.
friends.
No, we're not playing Fall Out Boy right now. No.
Is this more than you bargained for
It
yet?
was actually Coffees for Closers.
Oh.
I will never believe in anything again. A submarine did bring down the Lusitania.
Yes, that part I was just forgetting. So it looks like they did attack American merchant ships, though.
The Zimmerman Telegraph, which revealed, the German-Mexican alliance. So they were like, oh, crap, they're getting close to us.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to World War I, a history brought to you by Google.
AI overview.
Our AI overlords have spoken. Hopefully they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, hope so. So not the sinking of the Lusitania. That did not bring America into the war. But after the sinking of the Lusitania and so many innocent lives were ruined and taken from that, it increased the desire of those in the trenches to want to start fighting again. All this decreased this desire for the two sides to fraternize with each other again, and nothing like this kind of truce ever happened again during the war. It was such an unusual event that it nearly became mythologized, and some eventually got to the point where they questioned if this ever actually happened. Like it was like people were like, is this fake?
But there's pictures.
But there's pictures.
But pictures can be faked. I guess even then they could be.
Sure, at that point. The story still endured, though, and it remains, in my opinion, a true Christmas miracle to this day. And here I want to read some firsthand accounts of the war. These are direct quotes from one of the websites I used. It was the National World War I Museum and Memorial Christmas Truce Incidents and Accounts, and there were multiple articles referenced here. So when I'm reading these are all direct quotes. Some of them I shortened down a little bit, but just know I took these directly from the website. I'm not paraphrasing here. So this first one was from a letter. It came from Lance Corporal Cooper, who was in the 2nd Northamptonshire Regiment. It was published in the Bedfordshire Times and Independent on January 1st, 1915. Transparency here, I wasn't sure if that was two different newspapers or if that's the full name of the paper. Like if the full name is Bedfordshire Times and Independent, or if that's two separate. But it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to be transparent. Quote, "At last I have found the time to answer all of your letters. Well, dear, you asked me to let you know what kind of Christmas I had. Well, I never had a merry one because we were in the trenches, but we were quite happy. Now, what I'm going to tell you will be hard to believe, but it is quite true. There was no firing on Christmas Day, and the Germans were quite friendly with us. They even came over to our trenches and gave us cigars and cigarettes and chocolate, and of course we gave them things in return. Just after 1 o'clock on Christmas morning, I was on lookout duty, and one of the Germans wished me good morning and a Merry Christmas. I was never more surprised in my life when daylight came to see them all sitting on top of the trenches, waving their hands and singing to us. Just before we came out of the trenches," and then in parentheses, "we came out of them on Christmas night, one of them shouted across, 'Keep your heads down, we are just going to fire,' and they sent about a dozen bullets flying over the top of our heads. Now, who would believe it if they did not see it with their own eyes? It's hard enough for us to believe." So I have another letter here, and this one was written by Rifleman Smith with no information on what unit he was with. And this was published on January 16th, 1915 in Warwick and Warwickshire Advertiser. Quote, "Hope you all enjoyed yourselves at Christmas, as I must say we did. There was no official armistice, but the Germans said if we played the game, they would. So, of course, sportsmanlike, we accepted their offer. The fun started on Christmas Eve, each side shouting and singing to each other. Eventually, some of our fellows went out and met some of theirs and made an agreement between themselves, which was the cause of most of our enjoyment. On Christmas Day, no one would have believed we were enemies, as you could see groups of Germans and English shaking hands, exchanging souvenirs, partaking of each other's cigarettes and cigars, whilst in places they buried some dead which must have lain there a long time. In the afternoon, we even played football between the two lines of trenches, the Germans being interested spectators. These conditions remained the same all night and up to now, but expect we shall soon be smacking into it again. Dear Aunt, it's hardly credible, but believe me, it is so. It was a sight to see enemies conversing, smiling, and joking." So I've got two more here. This letter is from Sergeant H.A. Bars of the Cyclist Corps, which I thought was really interesting. It was published January 4th, 1915 in the Northamptonshire Daily Echo. On Christmas Eve, both troops were singing to one another, and on Christmas morning after sunrise shouted conversation across the open space between the trenches. A German shouted, "Be British and come halfway," and out goes one of our officers. He shook hands and exchanged cigars and cigarettes with the German officer. The German suggested, "You no shoot, we no shoot." That started the ball rolling, and they all came out and had a spate exchanging souvenirs and autographs. After 16 shells, which the German had sent out in the morning, there wasn't a shot fired all day. This is the last one. The following letter was from Private Farndon of the Rifle Brigade and published on January 15th, 1915 in the Essex Country Chronicle. We had a very decent Christmas day in the trenches. We had Christmas pudding sent up to us, and a few of the boys and myself managed to hot them up. And with some sausage and potatoes and Brussels sprouts, which we succeeded in foraging from a farm, we had a very good dinner. On Christmas Eve, we were surprised to see Christmas trees alight on the tops of the enemy's trenches. Some of the Germans, 139th Saxon Regiment, shouted over to our fellows to come over and have a drink and a smoke. They turned the searchlight on, and some of our boys went down and met them halfway. The first German who came along threw his arms around one of our chaps' neck and kissed him. Next, they offered us cigars. On Christmas Day, we were out of the trenches along with the Germans, some of whom had a song and dance, while two of our platoons had a game of football. It was surprising to see the German soldiers. Some appeared old, others were boys, and others wore glasses. But they played the game for that day, and some of them even went as far as to state they would not shoot so long as our regiment was on that particular set of trenches. A number of our fellows have got addresses from Germans and are going to try to meet them one another meet one another after the war. That one gets me a little bit.
That's so nice. Oh,
I first read that and I got chills.
Yeah.
I was like, did they?
I know. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, were they able to do that?
Like, could they find each other? Did they actually
survive?
look each other up and find out, they died? Or
Like, my question was like, did they survive enough to do that?
Right.
Because the casualties were massive.
Oh yeah, it was just a whole. That was a whole level of warfare and fighting that had not been seen up to that point in the world. World War I was just awful. But that's what I have. I know it's kind of a short one. There wasn't quite as much meat to it as I wanted it to be, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I just thought it'd be a nice one. Do you have any closing thoughts or thoughts about the letters? Or
I think it's a really nice sentiment, and I think it really humanizes things because I've never been in war. Like, I've never been in the military. But I can imagine in order to, like, do your job and be in the military, you almost have to unhumanize your opponents.
I agree with that 100%.
If there are any veterans that are listening, thank you for your service.
Yes. Yeah.
And if I'm wrong about that, I am sincerely sorry.
I imagine it'd be really, really hard to be able to shoot at someone knowing, like, they have a child at home. Mm-hmm. They have a wife, they have a sister, they have a mom, like a brother.
I would imagine that too. I said, I've never been in active I'm not military at all, but
I think I am not either. I have some family members, mm-hmm. but as far as I know, none of my family members were thankfully ever in an active war zone. Like, two of my uncles, I think, were drafted for Vietnam, but they never got very far. And then both of my grandfathers were in the service, but they were never in any active fighting, again, as far as I am aware.
I think my mom's dad got shot while he was in the Marines, and then he was an Army cook afterwards.
I feel like I remember you telling me about an Army cook. Maybe I've heard of him.
My pop-up?
Yeah, like I feel like maybe I've heard of that story. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Army first or Marines, but he re-enlisted after he was able to, and was like on cooking duty or something. Okay. I could be making that up. But both my pop-ups were in World War II. They were both on the Pacific Theater.
Ooh, that's some nasty bush. I mean, it was all nasty bush, but Pacific was bad.
I have some, I don't know where they are. I have some things from my dad's dad, Frank.
Okay.
That's his name. His name was Frank. Mm. My mom's dad's name was Wilson.
I love that. Wilson!
But I have a fan that I think he brought back from Japan, and like a jewelry box that has a painted horse on it. I think that's where that came from. I could be wrong. Oh, cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it is a really, like, it's like a Christmas miracle, like you said. And then, like, the amount of, like, containing and compartmentalizing they probably had to do to, like, shift into that, like, holiday mode, and then, okay, we're back to shooting at them. Yeah.
And it does make sense, especially with certain things like the sinking of the Lusitania and whatnot, that I can understand why that would spark anger. But I imagine it was still really hard because it's like that wasn't those guys across from us that we were just shaking hands with.
And that's probably why the rumors about them eating babies and stuff would, like, if you can dehumanize your enemies, right?
Mm-hmm. I want to recommend the book to everyone, All Quiet on the Western Front.
I've heard of that. Would you tell me about it?
Potentially. It is I forget who the author, hang on. I want to shout this out properly because it's quite a good book. I believe I still have it if you would like to read it. All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Maria Remarque, or Remarque. It's Remarque.
Oh, I would say Remarque.
Remarque. Okay, that's how I saw it initially too, but it is actually told from the German perspective, but it's very similar. It follows the story of a young man who's German, and he goes into the trenches, and it's his life living in this absolutely horrific war. And there's a really, really good section that still stands out to me to this day about how I believe he directly in the book referenced the Belgians who were demonizing them, and it's like, but they're doing horrible stuff to us too. Like they're saying we're so horrible, but then it's a different perspective. And this is not a true story, by the way. It's a historical fiction, but it's a very good book. I believe I know there is a Netflix movie out now that was done in 2022 that I will not watch because I won't be able to get through it. I've heard it's very good. But I recommend that book. Highly, highly recommend. It gives you a really good perspective.
Very cool.
From a different side, anyway.
Like you said, though, World War I is the one people talk less about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's always interesting to cover things from that because there's so many World War II buffs.
Yeah.
Like you.
Hey, I was just been like me.
Like you.
Sort of like me.
But you don't hear as much about, and I wonder if it's because there's less, there's less and less World War II survivors now, too.
Yeah.
They'd all be in their upper 90s now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were really young.
There's guys that still come out, and women too, that still come out. Like I go to the Reading Air Show every year,
mm-hmm.
and there are veterans that come out to that. I've met some of them, and they're incredible people.
But you don't run into World War I veterans.
Nope. World War I is gone.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that's part of it. It's like, it's close enough that it's like tangible. And I think maybe it's talked more about in Europe because it was where
a lot of it took place directly.
We're in the US, right?
Sure.
The two of us. And we didn't join it until very late on. So you hear about World War II a lot here, but that was there was a big patriotic movement for that.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know that did World War I have the same patriotic push that World War II had in the U.S.?
I would have to do a little more research into that because, like I said, I know. Well, we just learned via AI that America got into it based on the potential truce that was happening with Mexico, which would have put the fighting right at their right at our border. For World War II, what got us into the war was a direct attack
on Pearl Harbor
on American soil.
All right, last time I asked you this question, you got it wrong. What was the date of Pearl Harbor?
December 5th, 1941.
I'm pretty sure it's the 7th. 7th. I was right.
Shit, it is the 7th. My God, I suck,
you got it
guys.
wrong twice.
Guys, I'm awful. So here's the thing. I'm gonna spill my sins here.
I don't know geography. You don't know dates.
I don't know dates. We talked about this in an episode. I think it was in an episode. I feel like I have. You had a name for
dysgraphia.
It. Dysgraphia.
Was it Don's Macabre or was it Jersey Devil? Those will both be out by the time this comes out.
I can't remember, but it's where I have a difficult time and numbers switch themselves.
It was Jersey Devil because I was trying to spell out leads.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, we got into a whole discussion about that, about dyslexia and dysgraphia.
I'm pretty sure it's dysgraphia or dyscalculia.
Dyscalculia. Okay. One of the two. One of the two.
Are you ready for the questions?
Hey.
I'm getting silly. Sorry.
It's okay.
You know what time I went to bed last night, and I got up at 4:30 this morning.
Oh, bless you. Oh, I wondered what time you left. I thought it was pretty early.
I left at like 5:15, but I woke up at 4:30 because I just couldn't. I woke up at 4:30 and I was just up.
Oh, sure. For anyone wondering, Brie broke into my house last night. No, I'm just kidding.
I did. I know where the keys are. I had a meeting with Daddy.
Oh God, you had a discussion with Daddy.
When you were gone, when you were in California, and I got something at your house. whenever I walked in the door, I was like, "Hi, Daddy."
It's so comforting, isn't it? Ever since we've done that episode, I'm like, I love this.
We need to do like, I'm gonna write a script for like the
perfect.
But like I feel like I have to say hi and bye. It's like opening and closing like an EVP session. Portal.
I love that.
But I was like, "Hi, Daddy. Bye, Daddy. See you later.
Bye, Daddy."
And I was like,
"Bye."
Good thing your mom wasn't in the house.
I would have died. I should have been like, "Excuse me."
I hope my parents didn't listen to those episodes.
Fair enough. The number of people on the internet that think I have a daddy kink. If you do have a daddy kink, more power to you. I just don't.
I don't think she does. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not there, but
no, I do not. So, questions? All right, let's do it.
Hold on.
You're good.
All right. What drew you to this topic?
So I learned about the unofficial truce after watching the movie Joyeux Noel. I believe it's how it's pronounced. It's Joyeux, like the French for joy. And I was struck by how just beautiful a story it was, that the two sides put aside the war to have a peaceful Christmas. And I just thought it would be a really, really nice way to wrap the year up with a kind of uplifting story in the midst of something so terrible. Also, side note here, I recommend that movie, Joyeux Noel, because it was a long time since I watched it. I want to watch it again, but it was a really great movie.
Is it in French?
No, it's the title is French, but it's not. And I think it's because of the French.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just can't escape the French.
We cannot escape the French.
Is there anything you would have liked to research more into?
Back to the legend of the deserters that were supposedly living in no man's land. I want to look more into that. It's really interesting to me. And again, friends, if this is something you want to hear in a snapshot, shout it out. I would love to do one about that. I'll probably put it as an option in a future poll. But if you want more of that, if you want to learn about it too, let us know.
What did you find the most strange about this topic?
I think, again, the potential of people forming their own kind of legion in no man's land. And I would like to say I find it strange that the two formed a truce, and this is maybe me just wanting to believe the best of the world, even though I'm a little bit of a pessimism-leaning realist, that...
What an alignment.
Like, right? I truly believe, like, especially in cases like that, like, people don't want to hurt each other at their core. They just want, all of us, I think, truly just want peace. So I don't necessarily find it super hard to believe that a truce, especially around Christmas time, could have formed like that. But yeah, the people potentially living in no man's land, that's just a wild place to live if that was true.
Do you know what I picture for the truce?
What's
like a Hallmark movie?
Yeah, it a little bit is a little bit Hallmarky.
It is a little bit Hallmarky.
With some like really gruesome, like an R-rated Hallmark movie, if that's a possibility. Like a really gruesome Hallmark. Sorry, I brought it there.
I mean, it would be. I feel like it was a Hallmark movie. It might not have been. I didn't watch Hallmark movies. I don't know. But there is this one about like the psychic lady. And like she knew like her husband was going to die in like a mine explosion or something.
Oh, God.
But like she told him, but he went to work anyways. That's all I remember.
Okay, I kind of want to watch that. Whether it was Hallmark or not, I kind of want to watch it.
It was. Like, it was on the TV at my parents' house. They didn't watch Hallmark movies either. I don't know why it was on.
Was it Lifetime, maybe?
Maybe it was Lifetime. I don't. I would have been probably middle school.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I'm going to Google it later.
See if I
can find it.
I have very few memories of my childhood. That's one of them.
Wow. Vibes. Vibes. Ugh. So that kind of concludes our little wrap up on the Christmas Eve truce of 1914.
Yay.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a suggestion for a strange or mysterious topic, a comment about an episode, or just want to chat, please reach out.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. Comment directly on episodes on Spotify and YouTube, or leave a review of the podcast as a whole on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Find us on Instagram at something_strange pod, on Facebook at Something Strange Podcast. subscribe to our YouTube channel at something_strange_pod, and check out our strange content over at TikTok at somethingstrangepod01.
You can also send us a Gmail at somethingstrangepod24@gmail.com, and the 24 is numeric. Well, strangers, it's time for us to part ways.
Until we meet again, remember to see the good in others.
We'll be back again soon with another
Something Strange.
Not all paths are straight. Some twist deep into the unknown. Hey, I'm Amanda Joy, and every Thursday, a new episode of Down the Crooked Path beckons. Paranormal stories, strange encounters, and folklore that lingers long after dark. So take a deep breath, grab your flashlight, or let the mysteries guide your steps. Down the Crooked Path, available wherever you listen to podcasts.